A ghost in our house. Dan shared this story with me. Let me tell you my ghost story. We were full of plans and excitement when we moved into the farmhouse near my new work. It was a little old and worn, but it had charm. It was a good-sized house with a sprawling backyard, an enclosed area for Duke, our German Shepherd, and a barn we used as a garage. It was perfect. Sue and I worked long hours, me on a nearby farm, her at the doctor's clinic in town, so the house sat empty most of the day. We were new to living together and making allowances for each other's behaviour, which probably explains why it took us a week to figure out things weren't quite right in our new house and live-in relationship. At first, it was small things. I'd come home expecting leftover pasta from the night before, only to find the container sitting empty in the sink. Sue swore she hadn't touched it, and I knew I hadn't. Then it was the misplaced car keys. Shoes moved from where we left them, and the TV turned on when neither of us had used it. Dan, you left the back door open again, Sue scolded one evening. No, I didn't. I frowned. I always lock it before we leave. Well, it was open when I got home. It led to arguments, stupid ones. She accused me of being careless, and I accused her of gaslighting me. The tension in our relationship was getting worse, and it wore us both thin. Then there was Duke. Usually a confident, protective dog, he started acting strange, barking at corners of the house, whining at the ceiling, pacing around the barn and refusing to go inside. I should have paid more attention to him. Then the notes appeared. The first one was scribbled on a piece of torn paper and left on the kitchen counter. Who's been eating my food? Sue found it when she got home. She called me immediately. Dan, this isn't funny. What? The note you left? I frowned. What note? Dan, I think this house is haunted, Sue whispered in a hushed voice. I could feel the fear in her voice, and honestly, I couldn't blame her because I was getting the creeps myself. I laughed it off, but deep down an unease settled in my stomach. Over the next week, more notes appeared. Stop moving my things. I don't like being ignored. That last one made me freeze. Get out, this is my house. Even being a bloke, this creeped me out. I hesitated, and something made me slowly tilt my head back to stare at the attic hatch in the ceiling. A shiver ran down my spine for no reason, but I knew no one could get up there because there was no ladder. One night I woke to the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate creaks above us. Sue stirred beside me. Did you hear that? I whispered. She nodded, eyes wide. We both held our breath, listening. Silence. Just the house settling, she muttered, rolling over, but she sounded spooked. We both knew better. The final straw came when Sue found the washing machine running one afternoon. We had not started it, and the clothes inside weren't ours. That's when we bought the security cameras. The day we installed them, Duke disappeared. Sue called me in tears while I was at work. Dan, he's gone. The yard gate was open. I swear I locked it. That night was the longest of my life. We'd been out for hours searching for Duke. When we returned, the house felt scary, emptier and wrong. Every creak of the old wood made my skin crawl. Sue barely spoke, curled up on the couch, her eyes darting to the attic hatch every few minutes, a clear sign of our vulnerability. The tension was unbearable. The following day, we got a call. Duke had been found, miles away, wandering a quiet country road. He was shaken and covered in dirt, but unharmed. The relief was overwhelming, like a warm blanket on a cold night. He's never run off before, Sue whispered as she hugged him tight. Someone took him. That was when we decided to check the security footage, and my stomach turned. We were shocked to see a man. A man, tall, gaunt, unkempt, climbing down from the attic hatch in the hallway on a ladder he had hidden up there. He moved through our house like it was his own, cooking meals, using the shower, and even standing in the living room watching our TV before vanishing back up into the ceiling. He had been living with us, walking our floors when we weren't home, sleeping above us as we lay in bed. And then, on the footage from that morning, he was crouched in our backyard, opening Duke's gate, luring him out. We called the cops immediately. They searched the attic and found his mattress, clothes and food wrappers. Worse, holes drilled in the ceiling, peepholes. He had been watching us. "Looks like he's been here a while," the officer muttered, shining his torch around. Then we checked the barn. The floor had always felt uneven in one spot, but we never thought much of it. Beneath a loose wooden plank we found a hidden cellar, a dark, damp space barely big enough for a mattress. Stale air hit us as we peered inside. A rank smell, more food wrappers, a rusted knife, a notebook filled with scrawled, incoherent ramblings about us. Before they came, after they came, they didn't see me. They won't find me. The cops swept the area, but he was gone. Just gone. The only thing left was evidence of his presence. They promised extra patrols and told us to be careful, but what else could they do? We changed the locks, sealed the attic and secured the barn, but knowing someone had lived in our home and watched us had creeped us out to the max. The thought made my skin crawl. We tried to move on, but a week later, Sue went out to feed Duke one morning and stopped dead in her tracks. The barn door was open. The cellar hatch was uncovered inside. A piece of paper lay on the dirt floor where the mattress used to be. Scrawled in jagged handwriting, "You found me once, you won't find me next time.